As the summer goes on, starting to feel a little bit better about my favorite ways to put together best ball teams in 2025. And today, we're going to see if we can't do it to take down Ball Mania 6 for $2 million. Let's do it. Hello, happy Wednesday. I don't know how people are handling this insane weather that we have going on nowadays across the country, but how I'm doing it is by staying inside and drafting best ball teams. That's what we're going to do today. Draft a couple of Best Ball Mania 6 teams to see if we can't take down $2 million. I mentioned very briefly in the intro, as the summer starts to go on, you start to figure out right through reps, through drafting a bunch of teams, the ways that you best like to put together teams. Even some of your favorite players, some of my favorite players don't always jive with my favorite ways to construct a team, right? You get to round 15, 16, 17, 18, and you're like, I don't love how this came together. I don't love, my quarterback room, my tight end room, whatever. And I've started to find some pockets of the draft or some ways I like to put together these rooms that make me feel like I'm getting the best of kind of everything. I'm dipping in and out of the pockets where I think it's strongest at certain positions, weakest at other positions, thinking about what I like at the end, our tried and true back to front drafting, thinking about what I like at the end, what positions are stronger back there, what I'm okay with, rounding out my team with in the later rounds, putting all that together, spitting out an 18-man roster on Underdog. And I feel pretty good about it. So let's see if we can't get one of these 20-second BBMs filled. I imagine it will fill quite quickly. We only need 4. Keaton says the Team Stack episode was a lot of fun and a good watch. Listen, yeah, if you it's your first time here or you just haven't checked it out at all, on Saturday, we record on Fridays. I release it on Saturdays. The latest episode of myself and Pat Crane, of course, of Legendary Upside and Best Ball Mania champion fame, we ranked every single team, from a team stack perspective in for best ball drafts, right? A little bit of disagreement on some stuff, but Pat and I agree on a lot of kind of player level, team level takes this year. A few minor differences and maybe a shocking number one. I won't give it away. But I think you notice a difference of opinion in not Pat and I, but maybe the market and how they think about who the best teams to stack are, which of course we're going to hopefully put together some team stacks in these drafts that we do today. But I think people forget that we're playing, a market game. Price matters. What our opponents are doing matters. And I notice a lot of people pounding the table for the Bengals to be number one. I think that, we can't put them at the bottom, but I have them quite a bit lower than I think the field seems to. And it's not because the Bengals aren't great. We know Bengals go burr, man. It's a money printer, right? Until it isn't. And the way in which everybody is just head over heels for the offense, which has the 101, a guy aligned with the 101 at the 2-3 turn, another guy in the third round. Those are their 3 players that everybody wants in the first 20, first 30 picks. Their quarterback goes at the 4-5 turn. Everybody builds the Bengal stacks and they're great. But I can't put it, it's like saying your favorite thing is the most expensive and most popular thing in a game where we're competing against other people. That's why I like where we ended with some of the top teams in that video, but I had a lot of fun. Go back and check that out. Is of course on the channel under the Legendary Sickos playlist. I've been trying. Disbanded Brotherhood says he's burnt AF, and I was burnt the other day because I'm very pasty. I'm a pasty white kid, white adult, and I'm trying to get out there and get some sun because we're going to be, doing some pool and getting outside in July. And I will roast let's see. We got 16% Nabers, but I'm going to be honest with you. I'm cool with that. We're gonna stick on Malik Nabers here, but I'm trying to get out there and get even more. I mean, I'm out in the sun quite a bit, walking the dogs. I try to get out as much as I can, but the old, chest and back doesn't get a lot of sun. So we've been trying to, and the first exposure, like true exposure to the sun for a pasty white man's chest or back, yeah, you can get a little roast going, a little pig roast going. Good morning, Steve. Best Spawn with positive beat writer drum beats for Felton and Io Manor recently. Have you moved either in your rankings or all or more? I haven't moved them yet, but it's a good one. Those are the types of situations I'm very much monitoring. The Titans, the rookie guys are always good ones to monitor. To your point, because that we just know that they're inherently like the cohort of league winners, right? And we don't know who it's going to be, particularly at the end of drafts. Those are great ones to keep your eyes on. Tons of other rookies to keep your eye on. All right, 22% of my AJ Brown is with Nabers, but that's okay. We're gonna do another boring AJ Brown and Malik Nabers because I got some plans here down the road in the third, fourth, fifth rounds. But I haven't moved Felton and Io Manor. I just did some rankings. I had something screwing up with the rankings. This is incredibly silly, but we have an admin backend tool that manages our rankings, and I do have to I'm almost certain the last time I updated the rankings, I forgot to click save. It's like did you look at the back of the test? Like, how did I fail? Like, I studied, I feel like I crushed it, but you didn't realize that there was a back of the test. It was like 5 years in. I'm almost certain the last time I updated the rankings, I forgot to hit save. And then somebody asked me in the rankings channel of the Discord, which of course you can join for free in the description. And I'm like, what are you talking about? I updated that like a week ago. And I'm like, I'm pretty sure I just forgot to hit save. Nonetheless, updated the rankings yesterday. Going to continue. Got some more things I'm massaging today, but I'm not moving those guys just yet. But I am intrigued by them. So they go from like firm move. Like when I move somebody in like my ranking set, it's really like, all right, I'm now pouncing on this type of a situation. I could be wrong, and I should be pouncing on Felton. I've already been drafting Io Manor and like a sprinkle of Felton, so it's not that big of a deal. I'm already ahead of ADP, if I recall, on Io Manor by quite a bit. I'm going to monitor those, and like they're in my pool, like a little bit strong, right in my brain pool, if you will. Did Trey McBride just fall all the way back here? See, look at that. So part of what I was talking about in the open, that is one of my favorite ways to build now, is through the elite tight ends. Of course, Brock Bowers, Trey McBride, but George Kittle as well. I'm really only calling those three guys elite. We can discuss Sam Laporta. Maybe I'm being silly, right? But I just don't draft like a ton of Laporta. I am taking him a little bit. I'm like just not that into Sam Laporta. So my priority is what I'm going to call the big three at tight end: Brock Bowers, Trey McBride, and George Kittle. And what that opens up to me for flexibility of that second tight end, I can punt it all the way off till the 18th round of tight end too, if I want to, and I feel good about it. I can, set up a stacking partner, right? It gives me a bunch of flexibility at tight end, but then it gives me a bunch of flexibility at these other positions to free up roster spots for those positions. Let's see here. Ooh, got a lot of JMO on what team is this? I wonder should I try for the Eagles double? Let's try for the Eagles double stack here, because another thing that I've been trying to do, there's almost no chance that Hurts gets back, but maybe everybody's going to play nice in this room. But the elite onesies have become just more and more of a priority for me. If I miss the elite quarterback, that's okay. I have a lot more quarterbacks that I love in the window, which we'll talk about, from rounds 8 to round 11 or so, where the quarterbacks go, like a lot of the quarterbacks go. I am totally comfortable taking 2 guys there and calling it quits, but I do like the elites and getting some more exposure to some running backs and some wide receivers in that window. The problem for me, specifically at the running back position, which is becoming like a weird push-pull for me as a typical like zero running back bro type drafter, right? My favorite structure, the thing I believe in the most, just from a macro perspective and what works in fantasy football, is zero running back. My problem is that what I would call the typical zero running back range. So let me just go to the running back group, right? So honestly, once TreVeyon Henderson is off the board, though I do draft. You see here, I have 9% so I have 20% RJ Harvey and 30% TreVeyon Henderson. I have 9% James Conner, 11% David Montgomery. Like, I'm cool with those guys, but I don't want to build my portfolio out of James Conner, David Montgomery. I'm okay. As you can see, I'm lukewarm on Caleb Johnson. 9%, 2% Quinshon Judkins, 5% DeAndre Swift. I think I'm over on Tony Pollard, and I'm really trying to back that number down a little bit. Not anything like super. I think Tony Pollard is totally fine. I'm just trying to get to some of these guys in that right this 65 to 100 range of running backs. I just don't really love, and I don't want to be forcing guys in this range at running back just because of my systemic belief of zero running back, right? I would rather kick the can down the road and take cheaper running backs and maybe be a little bit more fragile. That, my friends, is how it's done. Jalen Hurts at the 508 for the Eagles double. We're really getting all of the things I love the most in drafts. So this is an apt subject for this. What I'm excited about. It did actually happen. Jalen Hurts comes back, but I love the elite tight ends. I love the elite quarterbacks. I do still believe in zero running back. Now I need to figure out how to navigate kind of that running back landscape that I don't love in the pick 90 range. Dude, I'm telling you, if you like the Eagles pass game like I like the Eagles pass game, just go for it. It happens more than you think. I don't really get it. I don't know why it's possible to get the Eagles stack as so much. Like Malik Nabers, AJ Brown, Trey McBride, Devontae Smith, Jalen Hurts. I could make a case that is the best possible, outside of somebody like completely falling, which I mean, but Trey McBride, and see then Harvey comes back to me, so I can get Harvey at 65. I can get a little. We're calling it. What did we decide we're calling this build? It's not hero running back, but it's also not zero running back. It's like a weak hero. We needed to remember who's a crappy superhero. Like, who's the superhero you're like least excited about, and I want to call this strike. We'll literally put it into Draft IQ as this. So if somebody comes up with a good superhero name that is a weak superhero, it can't be bad. Like, I don't want it to be like truly bad. Green Lantern, that's a good one. Whatever, we need a community to come up with the weakest superhero that's still like a net positive, right? Robin, yeah. Alfred, maybe it's the Alfred. I like Robin. I kind of like Alfred because Alfred was, really not the hero, but he's pulling the string. So it's kind of like you're really like zero running back, but you're not. It's like Alfred was pulling a lot of strings. He was doing a lot of heavy lifting, but he's not actually out there doing this, fighting the crime. So maybe you guys led me down to that. But anyway, Aquaman. But like this is straight up my absolute. If I could get the perfect start, I'm almost certain that it's this. I would say TreVeyon probably over RJ Harvey. TreVeyon goes at 61, and I get Harvey at 65. But still getting a quote, right? The Alfred running back. I'm still getting that hero running back. It's just a little bit, rather than paying round 3 for Kyren Williams, I'm paying round 6 for RJ Harvey or TreVeyon Henderson or whatever. If you like James Conner, Caleb Johnson, still building out. I'm still not like totally foregoing the running back position. So this is where things do start to get a little bit tricky for me. I don't love these. running backs. So I'm going to take Matthew Golden. And when I don't love the running back, I don't want to force. This is something I think I'm learning over the course of this summer, at least about myself, is these running backs are fine, right? I do like Tony Pollard. Pacheco is fine. Like you see, I have 7%. These guys are fine, right? Scroll on down. B-Rob is fine. Like I have too much B-Rob. I have more B-Rob than is my plan, but he just happens to be there, and I'm constantly like, I don't need another wide receiver. And like one of my favorite quotes ever from Kareem was maybe 2 years ago, 3 years ago, 4 years ago. I don't know. It's been all the years blend together. But he essentially said, the room doesn't give a shit what your team needs. And drafting for team need in a best ball draft is just as bad as drafting for team need, in that, like in the NFL draft, passing on a legendary player because he plays wide receiver and you already have two good wide receivers is terrible process. Draft the best players, figure it the fuck out later. You want to stockpile as many good players and good assets as you can. I do think I will take Pacheco now, right? Get a little bit of a fall. I have a lot of Pacheco with Hurts, but I don't have Pacheco, as you can see, with literally any other player that I've drafted. So I'll kind of break a tie to that, right? Where I'm okay with Isaiah Pacheco. I get a little bit of a fall down to 89, nothing crazy, but almost around. He normally goes around this Golden range. So I get Golden and then I get Pacheco, and I don't have him on literally any of my other underdog teams with all of these guys aside from Jalen Hurts. James says, if he always happens to be there, I assume if you're talking about B-Rob, are you repeating the same lineup structure? So I'm not, but that is part of it for sure. That being, as you see with this team, being heavy into the superstar wide receivers at the top, being heavy into elite tight end, being heavy into elite quarterback, you get to this range where I'm in right now, right? Pick 80 to pick 100 or whatever. And you're like, well, I don't want the tight ends. I don't really want the quarterbacks yet. I don't need the wide receivers. So you trick yourself into, well, I need the running back. Like I just showed you that I've tricked myself probably too many times into, well, I need the running back. Let's just take the best available running back here. And it's really easy to do over the course of the summer. It doesn't mean that B-Rob is a bad pick. I'm not going to have 0% B-Rob. These guys are fine, but I don't want to be forcing players just because like, shoot, well, I guess I need, like, you can take another wide receiver. You can draft fewer wide receivers, draft more running backs, right? And just rip off a bunch of running backs over the course of, rounds 10 to 14, 15. It's a good team. Peter, the random dude that joined Deadpool. Peter, that's a good one. The Deep. That's funny. From The Boys. Yeah, that's a good one. See, we're getting this is not terrible. I don't hate ETN. Ingram goes with Pacheco. I have not drafted Travis Etienne yet, so let's do that. I like the Jaguars. I'm not going to be stubborn on him. He is the guy that I should not have 0% of, quite frankly. But I've been sitting out the rise a little bit, and this feels like a reasonable time to the deep is really funny, like really funny. Maybe it's bad process on my part, but I don't have any Pacheco. He has so much risk, and I don't really see him returning to every down role like 2 years ago. They have so many. I mean, I wouldn't say they have so many options. P. Ryan left, and they replaced, like, Kareem Hunt is cooked. I don't know. So I mean, technically Kareem Hunt is an option, but Kareem Hunt has always been an option, whether he's been on the Chiefs team or not. He keeps coming back. Brashard Smith is a 7th round pick. I like him fine, but he's a 7th round pick. Eli Mitchell has basically not played football in 2 years. It's like one of those guys may not make the team. They definitely have, Jesus. Well, I think I'm getting forced into some more Jaylen Warren here, as he says he hates these running backs in this range, but I am going to do Warren. It's possible Hunt will play more than Eli Mitchell is dangerous, but so is Pacheco. Right? This is like heading into last year, no one would have said this. Pacheco was going in like the third, fourth round, like the 3-4 turn. Isaiah Pacheco last year, because he was second-year running back, assumed to be the lead guy for the Chiefs. And we're not excited about the probable lead back for the Chiefs. I'm not like out over my skis for Isaiah Pacheco, and I do hope that he falls like a little smidge. But like Kareem Hunt and Eli Mitchell, like we can't be scared of anybody with a pulse at the running back position. Like nobody's scared for Joe Mixon goes ahead, right? Dave Montgomery isn't even the starting running back on his own team. He has Jahmyr Gibbs ahead of him. Obviously, the Lions are the Lions. The Lions go Burr. But Dave Montgomery isn't even like the lead back on his own offense. He goes ahead of Isaiah Pacheco, and the Chiefs offense is good. You know, I think writing off last year where he was hurt basically the whole season, and thinking about it from that angle will get you to a little bit of Pacheco. I mean, I like Eli Mitchell fine, but he basically hasn't played football in a couple of years. I don't think that that's an unreasonable thing to say. We'll do a little Ramondre. Look at this. We're building out this. I just deep RB. It just doesn't ring. It needs to ring. The deep is a phenomenal superhero for this, but we need it. It doesn't. It just the name doesn't roll off the tongue. The deep RB. Nah, I can't do it. Yeah, guys, I'm not saying that I have drafted Eli Mitchell. I think Eli Mitchell is totally fine, but we can't just say, right? So if we pick every single guy who didn't play for 2 years, and we got one J.K. Dobbins who's good, what about all the other guys who didn't play for 2 years, right? Eli Mitchell needs to make the Kansas City Chiefs first. Let's start there. Eli Mitchell makes the Kansas City Chiefs. You guys just told me Kareem Hunt is going to steal all the work. Who gives a fuck about Eli Mitchell? Then, Isaiah Pacheco 2 years ago was the lead back for the Kansas City Chiefs. Sure, that's I'm not arguing with that. They trusted Isaiah Pacheco too. Every point that we are making for these guys, I can also make for like a lot of other guys, right? I can make this Eli Mitchell, like Eli Mitchell got banished in San Francisco. They drafted Isaac Orendo. They put Jordan Mason in front of him. That doesn't mean that those guys are like for sure. Ooh, do I do the Eagles triple? I'm gonna lay off of Dallas Goedert. I take a little bit too much Dallas Goedert, I think, actually. I can't believe how this running back room is coming together, though. Let's get a little Ray Davis week 17 bring back. Now it's time for some wide receivers, and see what I do like about this. Now I built out a good running back room. I'm cool with this, despite this this anti-Pacheco stuff, which ironically I didn't hear a whole lot of anti-Pacheco at the 3-4 turn last year, even though they had a bunch of bodies as well. I'm just messing with you guys. But right, when you kind of start with the elite quarterback, you need both running back and wide receiver when you get in your first 5 picks an elite quarterback and an elite tight end. So it oddly opens you up to being really flexible in how you build in this weird way. It makes you feel like it pigeonholes you, and it sort of does in the first 10 rounds. You don't really feel like investing more at quarterback and at tight end when you do it, but it actually frees you up to, like I said, I don't even love Pacheco. I'm sitting here going to bat for Pacheco. I don't even love Pacheco, but like, give me a round fall. Cool. I'll scoop it up, right? Give me a round fall on Warren. Cool. I'll scoop it up and just like scoop things up along the way, because you actually created this flexibility for yourself. I think the Matthew Golden pick did that as well. Yeah, they trusted Kareem Hunt because what was the alternative? Carson Steele? Then why did they sign him If Hunt is cooked, what is he? I'm not following. I'm not that interested in this Kansas City Chiefs running back conversation. You guys have at it. Have at it. You guys are the ones telling me it's dangerous to pretend you know how a backfield is going to shake out in June. No shit, that's what I'm saying. I agree. Hunt, Mitchell, I draft them all. I'm literally telling you that it's also possible that 2 years ago was the truth, and you guys are telling me it's not. So you can't say it's dangerous to worry about that. I know it's dangerous. I'm telling you it's dangerous. See, now all the running backs are here, but we're gonna do a little garbage Romeo Dobbs here. I do need to start looking at tight end, quarterback too. I probably should have done Penix, but I don't have anything fun with Penix here. We did Dobbs to build out a little Green Bay secondary stack here, as you see. And I'm not even saying that it's bad process. I don't love Pacheco, but I think like if we look at 2 years ago, we can't only look at last year, right? That's the case on why do I love the Eagles passing game? Why do I love Eagles passing game stacks? It's like, well, because last year isn't the only thing that matters. And our projection of what happens this year is very baked in, is very, dependent upon what happened last year. I'm going to go get me some Geno here. He does play against Malik Nabers. He sets me up for a wide receiver I like a little bit later. And I need a quarterback too. I also just really don't think I have, given my kind of bullishness on the Raiders offense because of Geno Smith, I don't think I draft Geno Smith enough. It's a very weird thing where Geno comes in and I'm like, oh man, this is going to be awesome for Bowers. They get Genty, Jacoby Myers, fine, into Dante Thornton, right? I'm into the concept of the Raiders. And then because Bowers is expensive and I don't really draft Jacoby Myers a lot, it becomes this weird thing where you don't get enough Geno Smith. And I need to just suck it up and take some Geno Smith because he's a good pick. It's Walter says easy to see in hindsight, but do you wish you went Love over Ray Davis? It's possible. Yeah, it's possible. I also couldn't help. I love Ray Davis, and I couldn't help the old Week 17 bring back, call me a fish or a slappy for sure. But if I swapped those, I think it would make maybe a little bit more sense. But I'm cool with this too. Opening my fourth eye for a Jerick McKinnon comeback. Old daddy dead legs. Jerick McKinnon. This is good. I also draft them all, including Brashard Smith, because the slappies told me to. Yeah. Ray Davis, Spike Week fan favorite. I hear you on Eli Mitchell, but how do you feel about Brashard being drafted nearly 100? But yeah, I think that's a really good feather in the cap of Eli Mitchell. The Brashard Smith love has gotten pretty strong. And let's see here. I'm trying to think if I want to make this. Yeah. We're doing my guy Shipley because I'm actually able to get him on a Spike Week stream draft. He is also a fucking awesome pick on Eagles passing game stacks. Right? Think about the scenario, and I'm obviously going to make this a 2-7-7-2 team. Think about the scenario in which Saquon is having a down season. They're spelling Saquon and playing Will Shipley more. Whatever scenario in which the Eagles pass more, which of course is going to be very good for AJ Brown, Jalen Hurts, Devontae Smith, especially all together on the same team. Will Shipley is such a good fit on that team because he can be good regardless. Saquon doesn't need to get hurt or miss a game, or they don't need, whatever. He can be a good pick. The Eagles passing game can be a good pick, but you get this double, right? You get double the payoff for one possible outcome when you add Shipley to that group. Now the question is, this particular Raider has been rising like a mother. So yeah, I'm just gonna go ahead and go get Dante Thornton now. Dante Thornton, notably 4th round pick for Vegas this year, playing ahead. This wide receiver room seems too questionable for Shipley. I don't think there's any difference between this is fair, except I don't think there's any difference between the late wide receivers. And I have Malik Nabers, AJ Brown, Devontae Smith, and Matthew Golden. So like if this wide receiver room is bad, when I took 3 in the first 5 rounds and 4 in the first 6 rounds, then boy, there's a lot of bad wide receiver rooms out there. It's underdog. It's half PPR. I'm drafting more running backs, especially when my first running back doesn't come till pick 65. I'm doing a lot of 2 running backs in the top 5 rounds, then punting the shit out of running backs and grabbing a bunch of RBs late. Yeah. Kyle says like in the 2-7-7-2, taking a bunch of late running backs. I totally agree. I'm totally with you. What's up, Mac? We're doing wonderful. We're doing wonderful today. Got up, walked the dogs, going to the gym after this. Also, join me at 2 p.m. Eastern on the Coach Speak Index YouTube channel. I'm joining the old Coach Speak Index, Greg, for a draft over on his channel this afternoon. All right. Oh, baby. Let's see if I can say it now. Let's see if this Slappy takes Slayton. No, Slayton, Yahtzee. What a beautiful fit. Get another little secondary stack there with the Giants. There go the dogs. One thing I do love about zip it. One thing I do love about the old Spike Week Draft Hacker. You can see all my team stacks here. And it's coming together beautifully. Look at that. A bunch of one-offs, obviously. But got my Eagles mega stack, my Geno stack, little secondary Nabers and Slayton, and a little secondary Dobbs and Golden. Exactly. The wife let Griffey out in the yard, and he's barking at assuredly someone else walking their dog. So Taz is literally right over here, not even running up there to see what's going on. He's just gonna bark from the basement every time Griffey barks. So be prepared. Make funny noises. One more pick, and then we'll do another 20-second BBM. Exactly. Now we'll round it out with do we make the Giants? I think we make the full-blown Giants bet here. I would generally take Fannin, but I've made this bet on this Giants passing game. So let's bring Theo along for the ride as well. I mean, I fucking love this team. I think I forget, I apologize, who Walter brought it up earlier. I think there's a fair case to be made that if we swapped, I am of course right here, that if I swapped Ray Davis for Jordan Love, went 4 picks later, and then took a running back at, so took Geno or Jalen Wright here, something like that. I think you could make a case that would have been the better version of this team. A little bit easy to say in hindsight. I didn't know that I was going to take Romeo Dobbs, but obviously I had Matthew Golden on the team already. I think that's the potential 2v2, but I'm a big fan of our Alfred, our the deep running back build here. We gotta figure that one out. We got to figure out the name because I'm really into this, but the deep is an excellent choice. It just doesn't flow off the tongue. But once I start right with RJ Harvey in my Alfred running back room, I actually am a big proponent of 7 running backs on underdog, where half point PPR. These running backs are more valuable. If the position is more valuable, I want more of them when I spent less draft capital, right? I should, in theory, if the story that this team is telling is coming through, Malik Nabers is a superstar, the Eagles passing game is good, right? And then the Packers passing game is good, which I think maybe then could come to the point about Jordan Love, and the Packers passing game is good. like I shouldn't need wide receivers. I need a volume of running backs because, as we have all discussed, Isaiah Pacheco is not some lock to be a smash. Travis Etienne is not some lock to be a smash. Same thing with Jalen Warren, Ramondre Stevenson. These are like committee backs / contingent value bets. Attach on Will Shipley because I think I want him on a lot of my Eagles passing game stacks. Then, of course, round it out with some really good, right? Thornton is, of course, correlated with Geno, but also like a rookie, like upside swing late, and then Darius Slayton to kind of round it out, right? We got some young players, Golden, Thornton, and then some boring Dobbs, Slayton, kind of dipping in and out of that. And then just, I made the bet on the Giants passing game. Let's make the bet, right? Russ or Dart. The Giants passing game is going to be a smash. I already made that bet. I took 2 Giants guys. So let's just really make the bet. I'm sorry, Kyle. No, we're going to have to do a poodle or, be back tomorrow. Be back tomorrow morning with, I think we're going to do DraftKings tomorrow. So, oh God, need 11. Yeah. The I got your back bark. We'll see if we can fill this BBM quickly. Otherwise, Kyle may get his wish. Yeah, so the fact he goes undrafted makes Eli bet much more attractive relative to Brashard Smith, says Versaire. I don't disagree. Yeah, very impressive, Kyle, to have already maxed. Colin says Google says Hawkeye is the weakest superhero. He came to mind because he doesn't even have a power, right? He's just a human with a bow and arrow. He's got to be the weakest. So maybe it is Hawkeye. I think it is. It is Hawkeye. Same time, same bat channel. Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, 10 a.m. Eastern. So you'll see stuff from us. Almost Robin Hood ass superhero. Yeah, I'm pretty into the Hawkeye. Final decision. Yeah, who can hit you? He can hit you from a mile. He has something that he does well, and it's from a distance. He provides something. He's just weaker than the others. Hey, how dare you disrespect Star-Lord? Though Star-Lord is quite, but Star-Lord is part alien or whatever, right? His dad is, this all-powerful guy or whatever. So I think Star-Lord's a little too powerful for this. Hawkeye seems to Mr. Immortal doesn't have any powers except not dying, James says. That's a pretty strong power, though, if we're being honest. 4 more for this BBM. Let's see. What was I? A Pokemon character name. Yeah, I was into Pokemon, the Pokemon cards and the Game Boy games. I played those for sure when I was a kid. I think I told this story, so I apologize for retelling it. One of the great regrets. It's both a regret and I don't know. I don't know where it would fit amongst regret versus good story versus I did get something out of it when I was younger, but I did collect Pokemon cards. I had a lot. I had, so, again, I'm 37. So I was collecting at the peak of Pokemon when I was in middle school or whatever it was. And just one more for the BBM. And I had, what was then hundreds of dollars, maybe $1,000 or something. I don't remember of Pokemon cards, BBM filled. And, but this was when the PS2 came out, right? So not the PS1, but if you remember, the PS2 was like the most game-changing console ever. It was $600 new, and it was nuts. Like the hype around the PS2, the price, everything, and I didn't have any fucking money, right? Like my parents were not buying me a $600 game console. That's not how we lived, back in those days. And so if I wanted it, I had to figure it out myself. I mowed lawns, right? I mowed some lawns when I was younger, but it still would have, at $10 a lawn or whatever, it would have taken me forever to get to $600. So I really wanted a fucking PS2. And so you got one option. If you want the PS2 and your only assets are, baseball, basketball cards and Pokemon cards, and it's to sell them. And so I sold my entire Pokemon card collection in order to be able to buy a PS2. And now, let's just say those cards would have been worth a lot. Like I would not have this, right? I would not have this. AW says a PSA 10 first edition Charizard goes for 200K plus. Now I would not have that, but I mean, I would have a lot of money in Pokemon cards. Rocket. That's a good one. I love Rocket though. I just started to, like, I'll toss movies on in the background while I'm working and stuff like that. I just tossed yesterday or the day before. I am on the clock at the 105 here. Here, let's do. Nah, I'm gonna do Puka. I was thinking about doing a Gibbs team, but let's do a Puka team. Pull him up a little bit. Starve the Beast. I imagine that there's a lot of you guys in here. Biff Tannen, OMG. I think TC Dial in here, Versailles in here, Deep State. I think this is a full-blown friends and family draft. So let's starve the wide receiver beast a little bit. GM Shuby Garage says the PS2 is still worth a lot now too. Also more functional. That's the thing. I got a lot of use out of it. It's easy to say now, right? It was 25 years ago or whatever. It's like, it's easy to say now. Sure, if you held on to this thing for 25 fucking years, it's like, how many things, even collectibles, does a kid who doesn't know any better, you're not thinking that Pokemon are going to be all the rage when you're 40. Like there's no way to predict that. I'm sure some people were smart enough to predict it, but also they didn't have fun when they were kids. I played thousands of hours of PS2, so suck it, millionaires. Bet you can't beat me at Madden or college football. Congrats on your yacht in Monaco, but come pick up the sticks, bro. Pogs are making a comeback. I never did the Pog. I mean, I was a lot, like, I was alive when the Pogs became a thing. I did not know that they were making a comeback. Nolan says it's crazy. None of our baseball obsessed dads were like, "Hey, maybe these super popular Pokemon cards will be worth a shitload of money someday." 100%. They had no. That's why. Maybe that's why they're there are dads and not Elon Musk or something like that. This which would who wants Elon as their dad? But you get the point. They're not Mark Cuban. They're not whatever because they didn't have the foresight to see some of these things, just like we didn't have the foresight to see it. But they did see the baseball. They got to experience the baseball card revolution. And good Lord, man. All right, I'm gonna take. See, the problem is I pulled up Puka. Let's do another Trey McBride team. See what happens here. Let's do another Trey McBride team. So I could have taken Achane. The problem is, like, Achane, when I took Puka, Achane plus Puka is like, even though Achane was a huge faller, I took a reach on Puka. The Achane Puka thing is not really that special of a start, even though I got the big Achane fall. That's the difficulty of you get in a room like this. It would be fine to take Achane. Like, there's absolutely nothing wrong with him, but I also don't want to be like, oh, look at this crazy value I got on Achane. It's like, yeah, but a lot of Puka teams already have Achane. Yeah, I don't mind. CD Achane's not super duper unique anyway. CD usually goes at, CD's ADP's at around 5. It's not crazy. I think the most unique unique combos, certainly CD Achane is not the most popular CD pairing of the first 2 rounds, but really a lot of the stuff in the middle of the first, or in the middle of the second here. All those guys that go around there, they're all paired with all those other guys. Where you can get really different is at the turns. Damn, 50% of Garrett Wilson. I already have 50. So let's do. Should I do Devontae or should I do Josh Allen? Let's do Devontae. Let's stack the Rams. Get a little Ram stack going. I feel like Bijan, Gibbs, Genty are the best running back clicks we've had in a long time, given their talents. And I think so too. I prefer Gibbs. Definitely prefer Gibbs. But I think that I think that the first round and a half, maybe. Like I have Trey McBride ranked 18th overall, so I'm a little biased towards someone like him. But wherever you want to call the cutoff, Rice, Achan, whatever, there's some cutoff where I think that the first round and a half is honestly as good as it's ever been. And so then you have the difficult part of, do you just take your medicine on everybody, right? Are you going to be the 6 to 10% on every single one of those guys? Of which then you're probably also like combinatorial wise, not getting a bunch of unique combinations, right? If you're not going to pull anybody up, you're always just going to take the guy because you don't want to fade any of them. Like, I don't want to fade the best picks. It's like, okay, well, there's trickle down effects to that. You're not going to be overweight anybody either. And you're probably going to have a lot of the same combinations of the elite guys that everybody else is. Sure, you'll get some fallers here and there, but you're never going to have, like, you're just never going to have 15% Brian Thomas and you have him with everybody, because you're just taking the best of and that's okay. I'm not saying that that's wrong. I am just saying when people talk about like, well, I don't want to get burned by an early round pick because I like them all. It's like, you still can get burned. It's just not in the way. Like I said, it's a trickle down effect. That's the issue of just drafting everybody. It's kind of like like death by 1,000 cuts, as opposed to, if you take a stand, you can just get decapitated, right? One foul swing, they'll just decapitate you, as opposed to death by 1,000 cuts when you have really, really flat exposure, especially amongst the elite guys. Kyle took a big stand. Kyle, who has notably maxed BBM already, good God, took a big stand on CD, Gibbs, Genty in the first round. I like it. My current big stands are CD, Puka, Nabers in the first round, but I'm overweight Nico. I'm overweight BTJ. Well, I guess isn't technically a first round pick, but I pulled from. I'm going to be at least at the field on Gibbs, but then I'm pulling from Saquon and Bijan and Amon-Ra to get all the other guys. All right. We took the 2 Rams guys plus Trey McBride. I do not want to do. Damn, I think I'm still gonna do JMO here. I have a little bit too much JMO with these guys. Underdog, come on, it is my pick. I have a little bit too much JMO with those guys, but I'm interested in setting up some additional stacks here. When all else fails, I do like to make sure I'm giving myself more flexibility. I don't like even when I take Puka and Devontae, Stafford is still not like an absolute priority for me. He is the guy who can create fantasy points for his teammates, not necessarily score a bunch of fantasy points himself. He does not run. He does not sneak at the goal line, right? They're pretty run heavy. But it's the reason why Puka and Devontae are so valuable is it's so condensed down into those guys. I'm not writing off Matthew Stafford on this team, of course, but I'm also not going to be like, well, got to go star Matthew Stafford and reach on him because I got to have him. And that's part of why I really enjoy setting up different stacks as I build out the Rams stuff. Like I could play Penix on the other side of that Week 17 game, go get Darnell Mooney, whatever. Dare I say Kyle Pitts. Biff's going to take Hampton unless he has one of the Eagles. Yep. And then OMG is going to take Hurts. Oh, Waddle. See, Hurts falls again. Do I give Hurts to TC or do I take Hurts? You can have him. I'm going to go get Jawan. and set up the 49ers. Congratulations to you guys. I think I would probably normally take Jalen Hurts, but I'm trying to get a little bit more 49ers, and that gives me another out to Purdy, as CJ says. Penix and Mooney be a nice low cost stack. Yeah, I like that. And Darnell Mooney notably was not my guy last year. Not a big fan of Darnell Mooney last year, but this year, he's not like some crazy standout pick. But with Penix now at the helm, I think that the price on Mooney is totally fine. I draft him a decent clip to help set up Michael Penix, who I want to be overweight on Penix. Mac Nova, I prefer to make my bigger early round stands and aim for more unique early combos in late drafts. Yep, that's fair. That is totally fair, as we know, right? Once you get to the end of the summer, what's been drafted before. At a minimum, if you use the Spike Week tools, what has been drafted in your drafts, right? If I quickly share my screen, right? If I look at my my draft IQ, which if you're a premium subscriber, of course, all the data and everything that is showing for the draft hacker on my screen while I'm drafting, you get that times 1,000 over here in the in draft IQ. But so, like, again, amongst I've dropped, this is actually BBM 32, because I drafted one before, but through 30 BBMs, right, I can see what my go to opponent draft board, type in Puka teams, and I say, okay, here's what London, right, AJB, H, right. So I was thinking about taking HN because, oh, look, I got a big faller, but I can quickly see, okay, it's really not that unique of a start. Trey McBride isn't necessarily either, but it is. I have that data after the summer, has kind of run its course. I still want to be a little bit proactive to that. I don't want to just sit and wait the whole time, because that still means it's a lot of drafts that I've done that I wasn't trying to be, tactical, that I wasn't trying to be exploitative against my opponents. But I'm not forcing it as much now as I will in, say, August or September, to your point. See, this is fucking beautiful. You guys can have Joe Burrow, but give me TreVeyon Henderson. Again, this is our what did we decide on? Hawkeye? Yeah, Hawkeye. So this is right? This is a Hawkeye. Another Hawkeye. Puka, McBride, Devontae, Jamo, Juwan Jennings, TreVeyon Henderson. TreVeyon is my Hawkeye. The weak hero running back. The weakest, dare I say, hero running back, TreVeyon Henderson. But I love TreVeyon. CJ says 49ers have a nice playoff schedule also. Yeah. Spoiler alert, if you have not watched the Team Stacks episode of Legendary Sickos from this past Saturday that we talked about at the beginning of the show, notably the 49ers were my and Pat's, we both agreed, the number 2 overall team to stack in best ball. The Brandon Ayuk stuff gets a little bit scarier by the day, which makes me like Juwan and Ricky Pearsall and George Kittle, and to a lesser extent, Christian McCaffrey. I drafted Jacob Cowing for the very first time ever, not on Underdog, but on DraftKings and Drafters, I think, yesterday. So I think I have 2 total Jacob Cowing shares. But I mean, if Ayuk is not ready to roll, geez, they're going to score a bunch of points. The defense got worse. As CJ mentioned, good playoff schedule. Love me the 49ers. Love the Purdy price. Love the price on Pearsall, Juwan, Kittle, everything. So I'm trying to target the 49ers a little bit more. And again, our Hawkeye builds, they're great for that because Purdy falls into that window, right? I can prioritize Brock Purdy in that window where I was complaining, whining, dare I say, about taking to this, and now we get it. Demont or Pearsall, ladies and gents. Let's do the 49er thing. Let's do this. We got double Rams. I could have done Demont to go with Jamo, of course, but let's go ahead and get Ricky Pearsall. If we're going to talk about the 49ers, let's do the 49ers thing. Put a couple of these guys in the queue. I don't think there's a wrong pick there necessarily. I think I more often would opt for David Montgomery. Yeah, sorry, Dial. The noted Ricky Pearsall enthusiast. I'm in on Pearsall. You probably saw a lot of green numbers there on my screen. I have a whole bunch of Ricky Pearsall so far. Benny says I'm going to end up with 1% of Demarcus Robinson. For those not up to speed, because it is still only June, and understanding Demarcus Robinson is probably not everybody's number one priority heading into the summer. Demarcus Robinson is a San Francisco 49er. And might be a starting wide receiver for the 49ers in week 1 if Brandon Ayuk is not healthy. CJ has 23% Pearsall. I like it. James says, does Brees Hall have a drinking problem? Is that real? Dang. Henderson will probably take the full workload after the bye. I mean, he's just better than Ramondre. I mean, I'm gonna have a big old bag of TreVeyon Henderson. I think it. So I've taken him. I had 30% before the 2 drafts this morning, and I took him on 1 of 2. So we're over 30%. TreVeyon. Patrick says 49ers paid Purdy, which is the downstream consequences that they lost a lot on defense. 100%. See, we're in this wasteland. I'm going to take Jordan Mason, though. I can scroll. Why is it not scrolling? God damn it. God damn it. We reached on Purdy. The page. I was sitting here going like this, like going like crazy, trying to scroll, and I couldn't scroll to Jordan Mason, but nonetheless, that's okay. I could double dip quarterback here with Kyler. I don't hate that. Obviously, I've got the Rams stuff in my back pocket, but I really do not mind stacking the Rams without Stafford, not being reliant upon, like, stacking the Rams as though I'm stacking because of Sean McVay and not because of Matthew Stafford is something I think about a little bit when I do the Rams stuff. K Sizzle says, if I played on the Jets, I'd be at the bar every day too. Yeah, I heard that. Yeah, that is probably the perfect way to put it. Especially like the Jets period, and then he had to be the Jets. He had to deal with. So think about Brees. It's been bad for the Jets forever, but Brees had to do Zach Wilson, right? The Zach Wilson experience, which also notably was like the Tim Boyle experience, and then had to do the Aaron Rodgers experience, like the cooked Aaron Rodgers, the corpse of Aaron Rodgers. Did Mason come back? Beautiful. We're gonna do Jordan Mason. I have Jordan Mason ranked just ahead of Aaron Jones. I understand if that's a little bit of a hot takey, but especially on underdog, I think you make the case for Aaron Jones on the PPR sites. I think I prefer Jordan Mason on the non-PPR sites. Of course, Vikings play the Lions in week 17, as you saw on your screen, lighting up there. So we get a little extra boost, JMO and Jordan Mason. Pepper Tony, morning. Cairo Jag. What is that? Avi. Is that a potato or an onion? Not an onion. What is that? What is that picture of? If it's not PG, please don't tell me. But it says 32% Puka. I'm with you. You mean a first round pick, really good prospect wide receiver on a really good offense? See, at pick 100 or whatever he's going at, and that's an exaggeration. I think it's pick 100 on like Drafters and DraftKings, but Puka, I love it. I'm in. Is it a pair? Pair? Yeah, I think I see. It's quite dark. A red pair. That's why. Spoiler alert, I don't eat a lot of pears. Not a big pear guy. Pears are like the Hawkeyes. That's not true. I was trying to say something stupid and witty, but I was about to say pears are like the Hawkeyes of fruit, but that's not true. Pears are better than that. But they're not that. It's not a priority. They're not a strawberry. They're not a blueberry. They're not a raspberry. They're not a whatever. They're not even a watermelon. See, this is kind of what I was thinking. That's kind of what I was thinking. All right, time to go to battle for Javonte Williams. Also, just honestly, Javonte is a good pick on this team. TreVeyon Henderson, Jordan Mason, chaperone Javonte. Fits the Hawkeye. Pear is a Matt Stafford ass fruit. Mango is a good one. Me either. Best pear like, oh shit, that is funny. And Nolan says unstacked Dak is so common. It really doesn't make sense. It's like people take Dak on the tried and true Dak team is CD, right? Every single year. It's Dak is like the dollar store Joe Burrow, Jamar. Dak CD is like the lesser, right? Dak CD Pickens especially is like the lesser Burrow Chase T, right? People love it. But then I think what happens, the same thing that happens with Burrow is that you get in a room where the people that don't have Chase or T are just not taking unstacked Burrow, because we don't want unstacked Burrow. Doesn't help our teams, right? Oh, he's 6 picks past ADP, but then somebody cannot help themselves or they auto, right? Dak falls a lot because the CD Pickens drafters decide they're not going to take him. And so then you get the unstacked teams. Boy, don't love Najee. Pretty good price on Najee here. Let's go ahead and get a little Najee action. Another pretty good fit on this team. Got the Purdy double stack. Got Stafford in my back pocket. And then it would really be some other, right? If I don't do Stafford, it'll be some other backdoor stack. So we'll keep that in mind. I guess you guys aren't woke to the Dak 800 rushing yard season. Not in 20. I am not woke to the Dak 800 rushing yard season in the year of our Lord 2025. Off of a million injuries. Mango is a Lamar. Pear is a Matt Stafford. I'm into this. I like this bit. Yeah, shout out Dial, just came back from Italy. Super jealous. All the pictures looked amazing. The food looked amazing. I hope you enjoyed. And I hope your wife enjoyed, because now she has to deal with you drafting best ball teams around the clock. Yes, sir. Najee, CJ says Najee and Javonte get the early season points at running back. They go very well with and Mason. Honestly, Mason, Javonte, Najee go really, really well with Henderson. But then they also go right. So it goes well with Henderson, but thinking about back to front, like what the back of my running back room is going to look like, it's probably going to be backups, right? So getting these chaperones on the TreVeyon plus whatever, right? Algier, Jalen Wright, Braylon Allen, Jarquez Hunter, thinking about the running backs I like later. Those are the kind of guys I'm going to be drafting. So I kind of need these kind of guys in this window. I like this. Benny says, an apple is Jordan Love. Too many options that are all pretty similar. Dak is a strawberry. He's good when he's in season. I'm into this. I like this bit. I love every bit that's comparing our stupid game to this. I'm pretty sure the correct answer to this is Trey Benson. I do have it seems I have a bunch of Trey Benson with 43% Trey. Who's my third round pick with Devontae? I don't love it, but beggars can't be choosers. I have them on almost none of these other guys. I have almost no Benson with with these other guys. Again, another nice fit in my running back room. I might take Stafford on this team. We'll see. All the other quarterbacks are gone. It's really Stafford or backstacking Bryce Young or something. And at this point, I would just rather take Stafford, I think. I don't need to reach, though. What's my next pick? 149. So he goes at 159. So he sits kind of in the middle. And there's no real reason for all you slapdicks over here on the right side of the board to take Matthew Stafford if I don't take him here. So I think I could lock down. I could take Garendo and do the well, assuming he gets back to me, right? There's still 3 picks. I could do Garendo, Algier, and keep building out. Look at the exposure on Algier. Though I don't have Algier with McBride plus Puka, so that's interesting. I'm not doing Jaden Blue. Garendo or Algier makes sense. I guess technically QJ makes sense. But the real answer here is Isaiah Likely. One of my priorities, I have 16% Isaiah Likely. Don't have him with my first and second round picks together, which is my that 0% that I show there. And then just kind of like neutral exposure to him with all the other guys on my roster rounds out my tight end room. He is a priority for me. And so I feel comfortable kicking the can down the road on Stafford. If I don't get Stafford, so be it. Oh no, I don't get Matthew Stafford, the worst fantasy quarterback, amongst all the locked in starters. Oh no. What will we do? Damian says, I can't wait to see who wins the Javonte, but none of us are winning. Like, no matter, Javonte could be a Pro Bowler this year, or Jaden Blue could be the next Christian McCaffrey. No one wins these wars. We're wasting months and months, hours of our lives debating who is better between two. We're polishing 2 turds and trying to ask each other which one is shinier. And we're spending hours of our lives. We live one life, and I chose to debate Javonte Williams versus Jaden Blue versus Miles Sanders for hours on end of our life. Think about that. No one wins in that scenario. No one. That is, you're actually in the bad place, but we're convincing ourselves we're in the good place. Like that is straight out of a scene from if the show The League and The Good Place mashed up like Linkin Park and Jay-Z and created a show, it would be the Javonte, Miles Sanders, Jaden Blue conversations. That's what it would be. All right, Stafford comes back. Easy peasy. We take Stafford. Ryan says, what app tool is it you're using that shows exposures when paired with other players? That is the Spike Week Draft Hacker. You get access. The link in the description where it goes you to the premium, takes you to the premium page on Spike Week. It is $40 a month, and you get access to everything. So you get the Draft Hacker that you see here on your screen that you're asking about. You get Draft IQ that I was showing you, where you can analyze your portfolio, what your opponents are doing across all sites, right? Underdog, DraftKings, Drafters, and Fast Draft, which just launched a new best ball tournament that we'll get into with some shows here sometime soon. You get all of our rankings, right? NBA is about to come out. College football is about to come out. That is all included in the subscription too. So $40 a month or $300 annually. And you get absolutely everything that we offer. Rankings, right? Like I said, rankings, strategy content, and the tools, which of course there's even more tools than just the Draft Hacker and Draft IQ, but you can check that out at the link in the description. All right, so we're sitting 2-5-5-2, done at quarterback, done at tight end. Pulling up Will Shipley because that's what we do around these parts. He's probably not going to come back to me. And what is the fucking difference between pick 175 and 183? Nothing. Get your guys season. Going to turn this into another 2-7-7-2 team. The wide receivers, somebody's asking, in the first draft about like the strength of the wide receivers being maybe a little sketchy. And I think that was a totally fair point. I presented why I still liked 7 running backs on that team. But these wide receivers are even, Puka, Devontae, Jamo, Juwan, Pearsall. These wide receivers are a little bit stronger. So definitely very confident in a 7 running back room with 7 wide receivers. Yes, because he's way overpriced. I agree. Jaden Blue is like a fucking Peloton. Seems cool at first. Exciting, right? You hop on there and you're like, this is fun. I'm going fast. This trainer's getting me hyped up. And then after the shine and the glitz and the glamour and the newness of it wears off, the motherfucker is just sitting in your basement collecting dust. You're not putting on those shoes. Who wants to put on these special shoes and strap into this bike, pay a $50 a month subscription fee to watch the classes? Brother, I have YouTube. I can watch fitness classes for free. I don't need to pay $1,000 or whatever it is for the bike. I got one sitting there. If anybody wants one, I'll come pick it up. I'll give it to you. Like, Jaden Blue is just a Peloton. Seems good. Total waste. You get it for a cheap price, cool. But no need to overpay for the Peloton. Amen, CJ. Yeah, I'm not doing it. Yep, only drafting 2 quarterbacks. Team is notably dead. Miles Sanders, that's hilarious. Let's go we're building this Rams thing. So if we're going to talk about drafting Will Shipley on the Eagles stuff, it's not the same. Kyron is not an identity back like Saquon Barkley is, of course, but just loading up the Rams, I think, is a good bet. Jarquez with Stafford, Puka, and Devontae. It's just an overall good bet. Now we're done at running back. Now we get to go get into our bag at wide receiver here. Best comparison I've ever heard. Javonte is walking outside. It's not exciting, but he will get to. That is true. Go take a fucking walk around the neighborhood. Walking is one of the best things you can do. You don't need all the fancy materials to do it. Just get your ass up and go outside. Doesn't have to be pretty. Just get your steps in. It's one of the best things you can do. Take that medicine, brother. Yeah, I'm not doing Ferguson. I'm sticking to 2 tight ends, though I like Ferguson or Higbee. Honestly, let's pass on a little. I'm not doing 2-2. We've done enough. Like I said, let's get into our punt wide receiver bag a little bit here. I got one for you guys. You wanna? Did you know Troy Franklin has notably looked good in OTAs? He also gained 5 pounds. He's a whopping 178 pounds now. Troy Franklin. I'm not giving up on Troy Franklin. I'm joking about him, but I'm not giving up. I loved him as a prospect. That failed spectacularly last year. Huge, major L taken for sure in that regard. But the Broncos are one of the more exciting offenses to me, at least least discussed exciting offenses heading into this year. And like nobody wants them, right? They got Dobbins, so Harvey is falling in price. Sutton is just like whatever at the 4 or 5 turn. Like nobody's really actually excited for Cortland Sutton. Nobody's excited for Marvin Mims. Evan Ingram is whatever. Bo Nix is just like lumped around pick 100 with all the other fucking quarterbacks in the window. It's like they have a year 2 quarterback. Bo Nix was actually awesome last year. We're way out over our skis on the Bears. I'm included in that. We means me as well. We're like super hyped for the Bears because they got Ben Johnson and a couple of rookies, and the Broncos were already good. The Broncos already have a better coach than they had before. Bo Nix actually played well. We don't have to guess if Caleb is just not very good, or the coach needs to come hold his hand during meetings to watch film, right? Like we don't have to guess on all this stuff. We have proof of concept of the Broncos, and maybe they actually get better. But nobody wants their wide receivers because we're not totally sure, right? Sean Payton, weird stuff. He loves the little Jordan Humphreys and the Marquez Callaways and the TreVeyon Hendersons and the Robert Meachams. He loves all that bullshit. But like those guys would be good fantasy picks in the last round of these drafts if they're on good offense. If this is like old school Saints. I love the Broncos this year. Winning the division is going to be tricky. Of course, there are two very, very good. So something I like doing here is that, so I took Franklin and then I'm taking Vele as well. They can both hit. People say, oh, you're sacrificing 2 spots to get 1. Maybe. It's possible, but it's also possible that they both play. Marvin Mims is a screen merchant, right? Yeah. Notably, if Marvin Mims wasn't such a screen merchant, he would be going much higher, but we're not that excited about him because he's never become a full-time player. If he's not a full-time player, Troy Franklin, Devon Vele, they can rotate, right, and still be useful. Somebody can get hurt, and they're going to be useful. If the offense just rocks, they can be useful. We draft wide receiver 3s and wide receiver 4s on far shittier offenses and shittier players than these guys. They're getting a bunch of hype out of Broncos camp. So they are outside of some of the rookies. I very much like Jalen Royals. I very much like Torrey Horton. Best ball and brought up Io Manor, Ty Felton, some of those, right? Dante Thornton, we just took in the last draft. Outside of the rookies, I think these 2 Broncos wide receivers are like my favorite late wide receiver picks at the moment. It's got to be a better way to say this. Just really got to be a better way to say this. Michael says, Erik, I'm not in love with my 1 hole. Thoughts? I think you should go get that checked out is my thoughts on that. WJQ says the Broncos have the number 1 defense and the number 1 offensive line with Sean Payton's brain. They're going to be really good. Yeah. The only like air quotes concern for the Broncos is that the defense is also going to be really good, but like whatever, who cares? A lot of teams are going to have really good defenses. It is what it is. I'm obviously joking with you, Michael. Took Chase Brown. That looks good to me. Metcalf, Pickens. Yeah, I'm notably not a Metcalf guy, but I do like George Pickens. Connor, Caleb. Okay, this seems fine. Now you did take 4 running backs in the first 7 rounds, so we will let's see how it ends up. Keon, Hawk, Kirk. Okay, Stroud. Okay, so Stroud, Christian Kirk, Xavier Legette, Bryce Young. This seems fine. Freiermuth and Hawkinson. Aaron Rodgers. See, so I wouldn't take Aaron Rodgers. Justice Hill is like fine. DeAndre Hopkins. I think you just rounded it out a little to air quotes safe. Aaron Rodgers, DeAndre Hopkins, Justice Hill, considering you spent a lot at, like, you have JT, Chase Brown, James Conner, Caleb Johnson. If I'm going to take more running backs, let's swing for the fences. A little bit more. I get that you had, some Steelers stuff. I know other people will disagree. If I'm taking 3 quarterbacks, I don't want to just take it because I'm taking 3 or because I have DK Metcalf. I want there to be a real tangible reason that I'm doing it. And like Aaron Rodgers is just like a total nothing burger. He had, I believe, 2 spike weeks all of last season, despite playing with Devontae Adams and Garrett Wilson and Breece Hall and all that kind of stuff. He's just not really very useful. So I want to build a little more with intent around it. I like the Coker. I like the Jalen Coker pick. Yeah, yes. Sorry for the inappropriate joke. I'm going to get out of here. Make sure you, of course, check out, as we just discussed, the Spike Week tools. You can too draft and see all your exposures, player combinations. You get to set those settings. So the settings that you see here that I'm showing, you can pick your own. There's a bunch of stuff in there. You go to spikeweek.com, you go to the menu and see the settings. You can pick out whatever it is you want to see, right? Of course, there's playoff schedule and correlations and exposures and Spike Week percentages and player age and all this different stuff that you can see. You can customize it differently for Underdog, DraftKings, drafters. Tons of different options. Check out that stuff. Come check me out this afternoon on Coach Speak Index's YouTube, and I'll be back the next couple of days at the same time, 10 a.m. Eastern, to do some more best ball drafts with you guys. Have a happy Wednesday, a happy hump day. I'm glad we figured out this name of this Hawkeye running back room, and enjoy the rest of your day. Stay cool out there. Stay cool out there, folks. Peace.
Woo! those were some spicy takes. Want to stay up to date with all of the other spicy takes we're going to have over here at Spike Week? Why don't you press that subscribe button below? You turn notifications on, we draft a team, boom, you know about it. We have another spicy take, boom, you know about it. You can be there, you can draft with us. You want to stay up to date? That's how you do it. All right, we'll catch you later next time here at Spike Week.